Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of On the Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, and if you're hearing my voice, obviously, it is a Wednesday, and from Wednesdays from 8 to 10, here's where we are, right here on Von Radio, the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse. 860 on your AM dial, www.vonradio.com, or, of course, you can join us on YouTube or on Facebook. We used to be over here, and it was just radio, but now we are streaming live as well, so you get to see us and hear us, and we hope that we can have a good show tonight. This is a show where we invite all shades of public opinion. We have very strong views. As a host, I have very strong views in a number of matters. As you know, I have the role as the political leader of the CCM, the Concerned Citizens Movement. I also have the role currently, and privileged to have the role as a Premier of Nevis and leader of this island, doing my second term, but at the same time I am the vision just like you, and my opinion is mine and your opinion is yours, and we need in a democracy to respect each other and respect each other's views. There's a lot of ground that I have to cover tonight, a lot to talk about, but I have a very special guest with me, and he has come for a few minutes for a very important purpose. And this is somebody I've known all my life. We are cousins, we are brothers, we are everything. We have been together for a very long time. I joke about it with him all the time, because I remember the first time he tried to do a song. It was he and I. He couldn't play guitar, he couldn't sing, I couldn't play, I couldn't sing, but we were trying to do a song in the downstairs of my father's house a long time ago. I don't even know if he remembers that. We joke about it all the time. But anyway, I speak of none other than the man Nutsy. Nutsy is here with us tonight. He's not a stranger to On the Mark, but of course we know that this is Culturama time, and once it's Culturama, the artists are going to come to the stage, which is a big stage. They understand it's a big stage. They want to come, they want to be heard, and get their music out. And so, Nutsy Buffalo, my brother, welcome to On the Mark.
Welcome to On the Mark once again, for another edition here to release, my song, To be honest with you, this year I just wanted to just sit back, and just cool and not really take part, because certain times, I don't like certain things, but my friends them keep me going and, encourage me and tell man, not tell them, not worry about this, not worry about that, man, don't sing for we. And one of the things that really kind of helped me to make up my mind, I went by the bath, one evening, and somebody showed out my name, and a little girl in the bath, and the little girl said, I know you, not see. I said, well, wait, you're only 3 years old, so how you know me? She said, man, I see you on the TV, I sing. And when she do that, to be honest with you, my brother, you kind of, tell me by not, so you have to sing for the children. If you don't have to sing for nobody, sing for the children, them. Because them are the future, them are the tomorrow people, you understand? So I just, call up my manager, Glenn Wright Brantley, things that run through me head, me tell him, boy, all kind of things that run through me head, music, all kind of thing. Share 1 or 2 things with him, he's the manager, so he's the one who normally will, we correspond, work together, and he will put things together, send me back something, and then I will look at it, and, if there's adjustment, we make the adjustment, but, then we move to the studio and to do the work, there's a lot of work behind the scene and thing, so I want to just give, all my fans them a lot of respect for encouraging me, and this little girl, and most of all, my manager, Glenn Wright Brantley, who did a wonderful job, to put in the lyrics together, and, working with me from since 2011, we've been together, so, it's showing that, we have some commitment here, and, so, it's nice, the song this year, A Nation to Build. You understand? Because when I look and I see what really going on in the land, I personally don't like what really going on in the land. Too much confusion and them kind of thing right now. So I don't feel that I had to touch, and that, in terms of I don't like all the ranting and raging and so that I see going on with the politics, where brothers are fight against brothers and them kind of thing. So I am making a plea to government and opposition and everybody to, really let's work together. And all hands and deck and them kind of thing. Because we got a nation to build. You understand? We got this, political, disagreement and them kind of thing. We got to respect people's opinion. You understand? And them kind of stuff. And, we move on together as one and work together as a people. You understand? So, that is what this song is really, talking about, all hands on deck and everything. So, with no further,
before we play the song, then give us a little background, because I think a lot of people hear about Nutsy they don't really may know about your journey so far in Calypso. You've been in the arena for how long?
Well, I entered the show back in 1988. You know, I mean, like I always tell people, I had to kind of leave sometime too, you know, because then country above self, you know. Remember, me play cricket for Nevis and basketball and kind of thing. So, when you find that, you know, me have to go away, go play cricket, you know, I mean, being out there. Then, to be honest with you, country above self, so I kind of cool out a little bit and never really, you know, I mean, sing 1 or 2 years. But I will say, you know, I mean, if I've been there for, let's say, if I've around for, let's say, 30 something years. I've been in the arena for about maybe 30 out of the 30 something.
30 years, yes.
You understand? So, I just say I've been around from a long, long time. All the way we used to make a local spot, lodge and all that kind of place there. I mean, you hear about lodge, you know that man been around. Maybe not around when we are pa 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 pa. Nowadays we doing pa 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 music, right? You understand? When you go to the studio, you understand? But you had them there with Prince Perry, you know what I mean? The keep with my Yamin and the Cass and all them, man, you know what I mean? You know, it was the good days, you know what I mean? That, you know what I mean? The long time days, that, you know. But I had them days. I've been around a long time. Sing with a lot of them on the final too, you know what I mean? One thing me when me go a final, you know what I mean? Me sing. And that night me just hold me corner. You know, me come, me greet everybody after me don't greet everybody, wish them all the best. I into my room, me don't need no disturbance.
Right. Okay. Alright, we have the tune. Not remind us what is the name of this tune?
A Nation to Build.
A Nation to Build. It's a brand new release from Nutsi for Culturama. Culturama 49. Culturama 2023.
For my people, time to take a stand. Tired of the confusion in my island. Up for the struggle to liberate our mind. See my story, want to relate behind. For the politics, they'll keep dividing we. No longer live as one happy family. Brothers against brothers, real enmity. Party colors our greatest enemy. We have a nation to build in that the world. Come let us not start the will to young and old. To move our country forward, we must erase the divide. There is no time for struggle. All hands and deck I cry. Calling all patriots to build this land. We owe our debt to unborn generations. Demonstrate to the world that live its life. Our children's future depends on you and them. Our constitution give us all the right to support any party without fuss and fight. But party allegiance does make us condemn those on the other side and those on the fence. If honorable journalist is making big friend and honorable Creole decide to join CCM, I will respect her to the very end for standing up to our party establishment. We have a nation to build in that the world. Come let us muster the will both young and old. To move our country forward, we must erase the divide. There is no time for struggle. All hands and deck I cry. Calling all patriots to build this land. level rising higher than high. The COVID pandemic, economic squall. They taught us all for one and one for all. So let us pledge to love our foreign land. When we hear the anthem, we will stand. Show the world how to be a nation. We will live together as proud citizens. We have a nation to fill in at the world. Come let us muster the will go down and old. To move our country forward, we must erase the divide. There is no time for struggles, all hands and neck I find. Calling all patriots to build this land, who are dead to unborn generations. Demonstrate to the world that live is nice. Our children's future depends on you and I. We have a nation to build. Swimming through a water, infested with shark. Will only survive if we stop this island. The political lanka, the people and queen, destroying our soul like the vaccine. Yet the politics has its place in this land. But it should not be about separation. I am asking government and opposition, unite my people, come let us live as one. We have a nation to fill in at the world. Come let us muster the will go down and old. To move our country forward, we must erase the divide. There is no time for struggles, all hands and neck I find. Calling all patriots to build this land, who are dead to unborn generations. Demonstrate to the world that live is life. Our children's future depends on you and I.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a brand new release from the man called Nutsy for Culturama 49. Nutsy, I believe that there is a lot that is being said here in this song in terms of trying to encourage us, particularly the politicians, to come together, our people to come together. I noticed you have a couple lines here that made me chuckle about Cleon joining CCM and things like that, you know. I see you throw a couple jabs, but it's kind so.
Well, actually, remember, you know what I mean? Our constitution gives us the right to support any party, you understand, without a first fight. So if she decide, you know what I mean, and the other party and the thing, we have seen the quarters of the house, all from the federation come all over. You know the thing could go. We can't tell. It's just saying that, trying to say, okay, well, we got to learn to respect each other's opinion. You understand? I might not agree with you, but at least, man, respect a man's opinion.
Right. Well, I agree, and I think that, you know, it's interesting that that's what this song is saying, because the little intro I gave to the show, I said this show, really, we try to encourage different opinions, even when we don't agree, because what I've learned is that you can learn a lot from each other. Right? Even if you and a man don't agree, sometimes a man does have a good point, yes. And you say, boy, I could make this thing better if I listen to that man, you know?
Yes.
So there is value in it, and I think this song is a solid song in terms of the messaging, what the song is saying. As I said, I laughed when you think, because I say, well, it has a little political pick-on in it as well.
Yeah, of course.
But it's part of culture. It's Kaiso, and it's part of culture. Yes. And I tell people that all the time, that is part of it. Somebody played a song for me recently from another Calypsonian, and they said, boy, the man hitting you hard. And I started to laugh because for me, the Kaiso is well put together. So even though I'm getting some licks, I said, man, it's a good Calypso. And I think that's important that we have that. This song, I think, is an important song about building the nation, and I feel the advice in it is good advice. You're going to have a second song, of course, as you're going to
I'm going to have a second song. That one I'm going to just name it straight to the people who encourage me. So that title track, for my fans.
For your fans. Okay.
That is the name of the next one. Jumpy, and I'm come with something jumpy for the people.
You're the one in Calypso and got jumpy and can't win. What kind of thing?
Boy. Why sometimes I just hold back if I go do it, you could run a lot of things into problems. I hold back.
Alright, my brother Nutsi, thank you for releasing.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate you having me, and it was nice, at least, be here, got a little chat with the people, and just release, it was nice. Okay. Thanks again. All right. And I appreciate it.
Okay, my brother. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Nutsi, brand new release for Culturama 49. And of course, we expect, he's been in the arena for 3 decades already, and we expect that he's going to be around for this Culturama, and certainly for Culturama next year, Culturama 50. Now, just to remind our listeners that Culturama 50 is also going to be a homecoming celebration. We're asking you to start planning from now to have your family reunions, to come home and have your anniversary celebrations here in Nevis with us next year. All of our people from St. Kitts, from Nevis, wherever you are, wherever in the world you are, we know we have lots and lots of people in places like Anguilla, St. Martin, Statia, Saba. We have people in the U.S. Virgin Islands, in the British Virgin Islands, in Puerto Rico. And of course, we then get up to North America, particularly in places like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Boston. We have people in Florida, all across Florida. We have a lot of people in the United Kingdom, in Leeds, in Birmingham, Manchester, Ipswich, all those areas. We have persons, and not to mention Canada, because when you go up to a place like Kitchener, there's a whole heap of people from Nevis up there. So we're inviting everyone to come home for Culturama next year. If you can come this year, come as well. But next year we have a big celebration for 50 years of Culturama, and so we're inviting folks to plan their family trips around that time and to come home in their numbers. Plan early. We're going to have some hotel specials. We're going to have a real special time here, and a very, very real homecoming. We did it for the 40th anniversary, and we are grateful that we're here and we can do it for the 50th anniversary of Culturama. So, Nutsi, thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, for those who are just tuning in, you're listening to On The Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley. Now, today there was a very significant ceremony, poignant and significant. We had, of course, a year ago, we lost my very good friend, a friend to everyone, Trevi Liebert, who died tragically. He had gone out doing what he loved, which was diving, fishing, and we lost him there. And I recall very vividly that there was a huge search and rescue that was mounted, but unfortunately, when he was found, he was deceased. And so a year ago or so, that is when this tragic event happened. The family would have done something quite important, and they would have donated a vital signs monitor to our hospital for use for children. Trevi was somebody who loved kids, as we know. He was very supportive of children and very strong views. He was one of those individuals that I had a lot of time for, because incredibly bright, incredibly politically. He was an intellectual in my view. He understood politics, he understood people, got along well with everybody. He's missed, truly and certainly missed, and I thought it was a wonderful gesture by the family to start this and to donate this vital signs monitor for the pediatric ward at the hospital to the Alexandra Hospital. They had a small ceremony, and I wanted to publicly thank them and to let them know that the memory of Trevor is going to live on, because he was that impactful. Some people come across our lives, and whatever the space of time, for many it is too short, but whatever the space of time, it's all about the impact that they've had. And so I thank Trevi for the beautiful life that he led and the positive impact he had on so many people. And I thank the family for this very, very nice gesture that they made today. I believe that that bit of equipment is going to go a long way in ensuring that our hospital is better equipped and that our people benefit from it. Now, this is summertime, and at summertime we have our various organizations. We have various organizations in the United States, in Canada, in the United Kingdom, and elsewhere that are dedicated to promoting and assisting Nevisians and Kidditians abroad. These organizations in the diaspora are very important organizations, and they sometimes reach out to me and try to use the show to promote important events that they're having. And so I'm delighted that I was sent a poster for the Nevis Association of South Florida, and they're presenting their annual Family Fun Day. It will be on Saturday, July 1st, and they're asking everybody to come hang out with them from 12 noon until 6:30 in the evening. So this is a big event. It happens each year, and it will be the Nevis Association of South Florida this Saturday, July 1st, and it starts at 12 noon. It will be at the T.Y. Park in Hollywood, Florida. The T.Y. Park in Hollywood, Florida. And for those of you wondering where that is, it is at 3350 North Park Road, Hollywood, Florida, 33024, shelter number 2. T.Y. Park, 3350 North Park Road. So let me say exactly it's on here. Forgive me. T.Y. Park, 3350 N Park Road, Hollywood, Florida, 33024, shelter number 2. You can reach Nigel at 305-297-3089. You can reach Avo at 954-873-3026. And you can reach Vida at 561-294-8753. So, Nigel, again, 305-297-3089. Avo, 954-873-3026. Or Vida, 561-294-8753. The flyers are being circulated, but it's a wonderful time that the Nevis Association of South Florida has each year. And they raise funds, they bring people together. And one thing about these organizations, they do a lot for Nevis. I will tip my hat to all of them, because whether it's Hearts and Hands, whether it's NEVDC, whether it's NEVCAN, Nevis Association of South Florida, they all give back from time to time. They do scholarships, they do assistance of various kinds. And most importantly for me, they provide a forum for our people in the diaspora to get together and to continue to commix and commingle, as my dear friend Reverend Alston Percival used to say. I really like that expression of commix and commingle, and he always used to use that whenever I went to church and he was preaching. I could look forward to hearing that. So it provides a great opportunity, and I invite everyone to go out and be supportive. And Nigel, Vida, and of course my friend Avo, they are all people who contribute so much, and I congratulate them and encourage our people to go out and be a part of this fun day. I know 4th of July is coming up, and events are going to be happening all across the U.S., and so we certainly encourage you with that as well. Now, 4th of July here is going to be on Tuesday, I think, and it is also being celebrated as CARICOM Day. I think it's a celebration of the 50th anniversary, if memory serves. The 50 or 75? 50. I'm corrected. 50th anniversary of CARICOM. And as a result, the Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, has said that it will be a holiday here. On Tuesday, we are going to have an event at the Malcolm Gishard Park on the grounds there. The Concerned Citizens Movement is asking persons to come out. We are asking individuals, and frankly, whether you're CCM or not, just come out and have some fun. We're going to have some food and drinks and some fun. Now, I keep saying that I'm a good cook, and people keep accusing me, say I only take a photo of what my wife has cooked and put out the photo on social media to pretend. So I've asked the team to allow me the privilege of being the man on the grill at the MGR Park on Tuesday. So we're going to get together there. You're going to hear a bit more about it in the next few days, but we're putting something together and we're inviting persons to come out. So members of the CCM and all of Nevis who want to come, let's have a good time. Let's commix and commingle. Let us have a good time, a nice family fun day. And who knows, you may have some guys on the grill trying a thing. Today I told the cabinet that I wanted to be the head chef, and people start to talk about bringing Pepto-Bismol, and they need to be sure that they have, all kind of thing for stomach pain. I don't understand what they were trying to say, but what I can tell you is that once the grill is set up, I will be grilling, and so I'm asking people to come and sample, so they don't have to rely on social media anymore. They can come and sample. Men can cook right live and direct right there. This weekend, of course, we have the Mango Festival. There are going to be a lot of activities. It kicks off on Friday, where there's a big event down at the Indian Castle Fruit Orchard, and thereafter they go into Saturday. Saturday we have a dinner supper club, as they call it, at Mount Nevis. That looks like it's going to be very interesting. A really fine dinner being put on by some expert chefs, including celebrity chefs who have been brought in. They'll be cooking dinner at Mount Nevis. All of Saturday they have bar crawl, and they go into various restaurants all across the island. The idea is to really have some fun. And then on Sunday they have the big event at the Malcolm Gishard Park, when they have a taste of Nevis, and that's when you basically buy a ticket and you're able to sample various dishes all across the spectrum. Drinks, dishes, everything is mango infused. And so if you're not you don't have your tickets yet, I'm suggesting you get tickets at the MGR Park. On Sunday is the grand finale, but certainly all invited on Friday at the Indian Castle Fruit Orchard, and on Saturday, of course, to join that around the island sort of bar crawl. The idea is to go to the ins and outs and the little places that I like to go to on a Saturday, to go to them and enjoy the food that they have to offer. So it's going to be a fascinating time. I want to say publicly my kudos to the NTA, the Nevis Tourism Authority, its leadership, Mr. Devon Libert, CEO, and his entire team there, the board, and of course the Ministry of Tourism as well, ably led by Mr. John Hanley, the Permanent Secretary, for the collaboration and really for making this happen. We have a very talented team at the NTA, and I want to emphasize that, because the people there do an excellent job in trying to put all of these events together, and I'm really hopeful that our people can go out and be supportive. Today we had a lot of rain here on the island of Nevis, and I want to say thank God for that. We know that we've been experiencing some difficulties with water occasioned by unusually low rainfall at this time, and when we look at the rainfall over the past several years, we recognize that each year the rains are getting less and less. It therefore means that we have to tackle this problem. We clearly have no control over the weather, and today God blessed us with abundant showers. Some people got in touch because they were concerned about flooding on the roads and things of that nature, and we understand that. We complain, of course, when it's too dry, and we complain when it's too wet. We understand that, but I believe that today would have brought some welcome relief, especially to our farmers, and certainly we are hopeful that the rains that we got today would assist us in this dry spell that we have been experiencing. We are hopeful that we may get rain, continue to get some rain, and that will be of great assistance to us. I will tell you that as a government, we are truly doing our very best to manage the water situation on the island. We have some initiatives that we will be rolling out, including a significant public relations campaign about conserving water. We are working on that with the water department. It is anticipated I will be able to roll that out fairly shortly. We're looking at the possibility of increasing capacity by more wells. We are going to embark, in fact the cabinet has authorized the expenditure for mapping of the island to provide. We had a mapping done some time ago, but we want the mapping to be done now because we are told that the technology now is better. We do not believe that drilling alone can provide a solution, because as we have said publicly, we have had a problem where our aquifers are not replenishing at the rate that we would like. So certainly we would want other options. One of those options, which seems obvious, would be desalination, since we are surrounded by ocean, and that water, if we can extract the salt, can be made portable for drinking and for irrigation purposes. The problem with desalination, of course, is the high cost of electricity, and so if we can solve the high cost of electricity through our geothermal effort, then I think desalination becomes the viable solution for us. But in the immediate term, we are certainly going to look at drilling some additional wells. Some drilling has been started or should start shortly in St. Kitts. We had in fact contracted a company called Bead to do some drilling and paid them a substantial down payment on that drilling. Bead unfortunately never came to do the drilling, and that ended up in a situation with some litigation. We are hopeful now that they are supposedly in St. Kitts, that we should be able to rectify matters, get those wells drilled, get our money's worth for what we've paid, and be able to move on. And so we are doing a number of things. The minister, the Honorable Spencer Brand, I want to publicly commend him for his steady hand and his leadership in relation to this, because it is a difficulty. We understand sometimes that our people have complained, and rightly so, that they don't have water or they don't have it in the abundance that they would like. But we're also asking our people to conserve water. Water right now is very cheap here. It is incredibly cheap, and sometimes because it's cheap, people don't value it. But when you turn on the tap and there's nothing there, then you realize the value. You know that old saying about you don't miss the water until the well runs dry. That is very apropos in this situation. And so we continue to say to our people to conserve water. All this rain that's falling, we hope those who have cisterns have them connected, those who have water tanks have them connected, and the expectation is that we try to harvest as much of that water as we can. We understand a lot is going to run off in the guts and on the roads, and we need to do better as we go on and technology improves to see how much of that runoff water we can harvest, because it's no value getting rain, which is not coming as frequently as we would like, and then most of it just runs into the ocean. So we have to find creative ways to harness water, harvest water, and when we get rainfall, to try to see how much of that we can actually harvest, so that we have as much of it as possible available for our use. So there's a lot of work to be done. I'm satisfied, however, that we are up to the task, that the team at the Water Department is doing an incredible job. We have a young woman there, Santonia Mills, who's leading that team. We're very happy so far with the results that we've got, and we are optimistic that we can go on and build out the water infrastructure and move from strength to strength. Water is life, and I'm grateful that God has blessed us today, as he had most abundantly, with good rainfall, and hopeful that we can continue over the next days and weeks and months to get regular rainfall, which would provide some relief on the system. Just to remind the public that as a government, we have invested significantly in our water infrastructure. We have new tanks, storage tanks. We have new distribution piping throughout the island of Nevis. In fact, we do no roads on this island unless we are also upgrading our water infrastructure. So our distribution is perhaps one of the best in the region. Our storage capacity has been increased tremendously. We have tanks, and those investments are probably investments for another 30 or 40 years. We have invested in a water filtration system at Hamilton to treat the water that was coming from a high yielding well there, which had been abandoned because it was said that the water was not up to WHO standards. We invested in a filtration system to treat that water and put that water into the overall system, and that has helped tremendously, providing us with a significant amount of water, additional water that we didn't have before. But the demand for water continues to be high, and we therefore have to respond. So I'm asking the public to be responsible. I use that word a lot on the show, but I'm asking the public to be responsible in their use of water. A lot of people turn on the tap and they go about their business. They're brushing their teeth. They turn on the tap and the water's running full blast. They brush their teeth. They put on the shower. They go on the chat on the phone while the shower is running. All kinds of things people do. They have leaking faucets, leaking toilets. I walk sometimes at mornings and I see pipes leaking, and sometimes the water is really just gushing out, and their neighbors don't seem to care or don't seem to be bothered. This is our responsibility, that if water is life, as we say, and it is, that we seek to preserve it, we seek to protect it, and we understand that we cannot live without it. And so it really is up to all of us to get involved. And so we're going to roll out that PR campaign very soon, and we are going to be doing a number of things to enhance the water supply. It is something that has been occupying a lot of time from the cabinet, and only today we signed off on certain actions that the Minister Brantley and his team will lead. Ladies and gentlemen, I paid a visit recently to the new reception area at the Wally Water Taxi Facility, and just today I was sent some videos of, again, because of the rain, the flooding that occurred in that area, and of course we apologize for that, but I'm just here to say tonight that relief is on the way. We are hopeful that we could have this structure opened for Culturama. I'm not yet sure if we're going to make that, but I'm hopeful. We had some delays with getting some windows. They're now here, and so we're expecting that the contractors are going to do all that they can to get this done quickly. In the meantime, if you have been there recently, you'll see that we have done the parking area on the road. We've created some parking, some areas for the taxis. We're creating some order over there. We put pedestrian crossings, and we're also cleared off the area that we've just bought, or a portion of it, from the Yarwoods. We purchased just over 9 acres of land to create parking and to enhance the aesthetics over there. That area has been cleared. We're simply waiting now on the architects to do what they need to do so that we can start the hard work. That is the hard landscaping work, so to speak, to lay down the surface and all that for the parking in that area. I say all that to say that we are working with a plan. We are working to a plan. It would be easy if we had the resources to just snap our fingers and do all that we need to do, but we don't have the resources. And so as a government, we are constantly trying to do what we can given the resource limitations that we have. And so I ask, of course, for your patience, but I believe the evidence on the ground is clear that step by step, brick by brick, project by project, we are building out the island of Nevis. I'm very impressed at the quality of road that we now have from Cliff Dwellers all the way over to Ex-Petrol. We have left out just a little portion there by the airport because, of course, we anticipate being able to do that airport project. The airport project, the discussions and negotiations and planning continues. The Honorable Alexis Jeffers, as we know, is leading that project for on behalf of the government, and we expect that we will come to the public shortly with some consultations where members of the public will hear of the proposals and have those proposals informed by the views of the public. We recognize that the opposition has made a huge noise about the airport. For us, we don't understand why, because as a government, our posture has always been one of facing the public, engaging with the public, and hearing from the public. We are public servants, and as public servants, we want to hear from the public. Those are the people that we serve. So I want to assure the public that our record is there for you to look at. We are not at a stage now where we are merely talking about what we can do or what we will do. We have a track record, and we ask you to look at that track record. And project after project on this island, we have had consultations. We have not started with the Brown Hill project. We went and had consultations. I was right there at the Maisie Bartlett Community Center. We had the Bath project. We went right there at the Alberta Payne Community Center and had the consultations. Every project that we have embarked upon on this island, butlers, you name it, we have gone into the community. Church ground, we intend to come and see you soon because we're doing some preliminary works there in order to start that road that we've promised from Church ground all the way back around to Hamilton. And I want again our people to understand that there is a method that is being employed here. That road, for example, Church ground to Hamilton, is going to create a bypass. In the event that there's a difficulty in traffic on the island main road, we are creating as many options for motorists as possible. It also helps to take a lot of pressure off the island main road. So the infrastructure here is being built out systematically. There's a plan, and as I said, I would love if we could do it all at once. But we have resource constraints, and so we have to do as we can. We have signed a contract for the bypass road, and when I say the bypass road, it is not just the area from Pinnies. It comes all the way around. I think we're going to go as far as the water department, which is the under Pump Road. So from Pump Road around via the Stuart Williams Drive and onto the bypass road. That's what we intend to do, and that area, that entire area, is going to be resurfaced. We're going to solve some drainage issues there as well, and the minister reported today that that should start within the foreseeable future, the near foreseeable future. We anticipated that will start within another week or so, as they mobilize. Surrey Paving, which has done the Island Main Road recently, they will do that bit of road for us. We opted to go with them on that road because our own teams are involved at Public Works in some other projects which are also important for us, and because they had all the equipment and had been fully mobilized on the road, we thought that they could just jump on this and get this done. The anticipation is that the work should last about, they say, 100 days, so 3 months, 3.5 months. And again, we ask the public for their patience, because it's important that we work with the public, but we feel that that particular road, which is one of the most used roads on the island of Nevis, that bypass road, that it is important that we get a quality road there as well. And so again, as I said, there's a pattern, there's a methodology. We're building out the infrastructure brick by brick, bit by bit. We're building it out, and I believe that as our people come home for Culturama 49, as our people come home for our massive homecoming celebration for Culturama 50, as we come home, as we celebrate 40 years of independence this year in September, we're going to see the physical transformation that is happening here on the island of Nevis and in the wider federation. We are really working hard at it. It is 1:15. Let me just say one final thing, and that has to do with the music festival in St. Kitts. I was very, very impressed with what I saw, the organization, the delivery. I want to really thank the Minister, Marsha Henderson, the Honorable Marsha Henderson, and her team for a really fantastic event, and to say that it is one of those events that naturally we look forward to each year, and there's a tremendous level of contribution, if you will, that is made by people across the entire spectrum of St. Kitts and Nevis. And to put that in context for you, I think it is significant that NASPA, the Nevisian Seaports Authority, they control the water taxi facility, and they control the Charlestown Port passenger facility, and they indicated that over the weekend of Music Festival, that is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we had 8,353 persons moving back and forth between St. Kitts and Nevis. 8,353. And I have the statistics. I think it's important because the last year, 2022, the same music festival weekend, there were 8,089 passenger movements. This year, there were 8,353 passenger movements, almost 300 more. And when you compare that to an ordinary weekend between St. Kitts and Nevis would be about 4,800 movements. So this is nearly double in terms of the movement for that weekend. And that, I think, demonstrates the impact that it has on the local economy in terms of people going back and forth. And we also see the absolute critical contribution of the Wally water taxi facility, because that has now overtaken Charlestown as basically the primary, how should I put it, the primary artery into and out of the island of Nevis. We had, for example, over this music festival weekend, we had 1,539 arrivals into Charlestown. Into Wally, that was 2,430. We had 1,617 departures from Charlestown, 2,767 departures from Wally. So Wally has really become rather significant, and we thank again the Honorable Alexis Jeffers. I keep talking about the Honorable Alexis Jeffers because, you know, sometimes we say that we want politicians, we want persons who perform. We in fact, the NRP had something that said performance matters. And I sometimes have to ask myself, does it really matter? And I'm not trying to be controversial, but I ask myself, does it really matter? Because I saw that the Honorable Alexis Jeffers lost an election in December by 8 votes. 8 votes. To someone who people didn't know. Someone who came with not one idea for the people of St. James, but rather just a mantra of saying, time for change, let us change, let us change. And when I look around at what the Honorable Alexis Jeffers has done, when you go to Madden's, that housing development, you go down to the Indian Castle Fruit Orchard, you see the Newcastle Police Station, you see the road in Butlers, you see the Island Main Road now going all the way through from right there in at Cliff Dwellers, going over now to Ex-Petrol in that Nevis Plantation area. You see the water taxi pier, which has revolutionized travel. They do a lot of projects. We do a lot of projects. Yes, a little road here, a little road there, but there are few projects which you can point to and say they have revolutionized this island, and that water taxi pier is one of them. It has revolutionized travel between St. Kitts and Nevis and empowered a number of businesses. I tell people all the time that that water taxi business is 100% Nevisian owned at this point in time. Vision. And we're building out the rest of that infrastructure now. So you hear what I've mentioned? Housing at Madden's, one of the biggest and best housing developments on this island. You don't need to take my word for it. Go and look for yourself. Newcastle Police Station. I know because I was in the federal cabinet. When others, including some from Nevis, say, we don't need a police station in Newcastle, Alexis Jeffers was the one who insisted it has to happen. And it did. That water taxi pier at Wally, roads all up and down St. James. That fruit orchard on the Indian Castle, again, revolutionary. People now go there, can't believe. And in fact, just yesterday, we had the groundbreaking ceremony for the processing facility for poultry industry. And I was so pleased that the Honorable Eric Evelyn, the Deputy Premier, new Minister of Agriculture, invited the Honorable Alexis Jeffers and said, you know what, you come and turn this out because this is your legacy, that is and was your idea. So, you know, sometimes, as I said, I wonder, because when you look at people who have contributed so much, I think it was King Connors who sang a song about show me your trophy, that the trophies are there and people still go and vote for somebody they don't know. They vote for somebody who has not contributed anything thus far, and more importantly, who did not come with one idea, not one commitment. And you ask the question, what really do our people want? Do they really want people who perform because you see the things in front of you, you see how life has been made better? Or do you want people who just come and out of nowhere, just arrive, just wake up like, what was his name, was Rip Van Winkle? Whoever it was, who they say slept for all these years, 20 years, and then you wake up. And people say, I prefer that to proven performance, a track record of performance. And these are the things that we must look at, you know. The end of the day, every man has a right and every woman has a right to vote for who they want to vote for. I'm not arguing that. But I sometimes try to wonder, what influences our people? What influences our people? And we have seen it before. I recall that Elhansville Hector came out of nowhere, unknown quantity, had not distinguished himself at anything. And he came up against Michael Perkins and won. This was in 2006. Michael Perkins had had a track record which at the time was unsurpassed in terms of development. A lot of things you take here for granted. Hunkins Drive, the one-way traffic through Charlestown, Moulton Avenue. We go up there, Marion Avenue. Housing, development. He was active and he produced. And at the end of the day, the people of Nevis, people of St. Paul's decided, you know what, we're going to go with an unknown quantity. A fellow, well, he talked good, but beyond that, nothing to show. And you ended up, over time, seeing the mistake. Because just as there was no substance prior to being elected, there was no substance in government. And eventually the people of St. Paul's corrected that error. But you ask the question, why was the error made in the first place? Because you see the performances in front of you. Notwithstanding this manager, nothing happen. People will be taking their water taxi from the Wally water taxi pier while telling you nothing is happening. They will be relying on the police station in Comfort now at the Newcastle police station while telling you nothing is happening. They'll be driving on the roads, all of which are improved. And sometimes I wish my brothers and sisters from Sinkis to come over, because they like to run on the Sinkis radio stations to spread propaganda about nothing happening. Come over, man. Come over for Mango Festival, and when you come, drive around. See for yourself. Because these are not secret projects. These are projects that are there for all to see. Go and visit in Maddens. Go up to University Heights. Lord, I forget to mention that about Alexis. $1 square foot is what we offered land for at University Heights to returning students. $1 a square foot. And you just have to go up there now to see the beautiful homes and the beautiful development, a masterful community that has been created up there. Again, the vision of Alexis Jeffers. So you ask, well, what is it that people want? What is it that people want? What is it they look for? Because you have a proven track record. You have somebody untainted by any whiff of scandal. He always says, when I always tell him, you know something, you're a man of your word, because every other person who was in charge of land and housing, you hear all kind of things being said. Alexis came, that ministry was put in his hand, that department was put in his hand, and you have never heard one word suggested that he has got himself into anything untoward. So you look at all of that, and you stack that up, and then you look at the other side. Oh, get rid of them, get rid of them. Time for change, get rid of them. What are you going to do? Well, I don't have any ideas. I'm not publishing any manifesto. But just get rid of them. And people responded to that, because at the end of the day, elections are won by vote. So people must have responded to that. And you ask the question, particularly to the people of St. James, the good people of St. James, you have therefore by 8 votes decided that Alexis will no longer be in the cabinet representing you. And so whereas other constituencies are trying to get into government, you put yourself in opposition. And you don't even have an opposition that is effective. You have an opposition that is really not committed, because they were never committed to the task at hand. I think we all know that. We all know that there were some forces in St. Kitts and elsewhere that were the puppet masters in relation to this particular leader that emerged out of nowhere for the NRP. We understand that. And so the people of St. James, oh, get rid of them, get rid of them. So you voted to put the constituency of St. James into opposition. So when something needs to be done in St. James now, who is the person that you will go to get it done? You don't have anybody in government anymore, because in cabinet I mean, because you've decided that you're going to go really get rid of them crowd. And you know what I find interesting, and I will say so. The election was on the 12th of December 2022, forgive me. The 12th of December 2022. The people of St. James, by 8 votes, decided that the leader of the NRP is the person they want to represent them. That is their choice. That was the choice that they made. The people of St. Thomas's decided that the Honorable Cleon Stapleton Simmons was the person that they wanted to represent them. That too was their choice. The others constituency decided to stick in with CCM, and that too was their choice. And so CCM went back into office. But I want to say tonight, because I think it's important, that since the 12th of December, the representative for St. James, the Honorable Janice Daniel Hodge, has not engaged with me as the Premier of Nevis even once on anything to do for St. James or for the people of St. James. I think that's important, Because if you start to add January, February, March, April, May, June, the government is now 6 months old. Just over 6 months. And you mean to tell me in 6 months' time, the new representative of St. James has not identified one person that needs help, one project that needs doing, one thing that needs to happen in St. James? Absolutely nothing. But Alexis Jeffers, who was not re-elected, keeps calling me, wants this done and wants that done in St. James. And people may not like it, but I'm going to make the comparison tonight. Because the Honorable Cleon Stapleton Simmons, who was also elected on an NRP ticket for the parish and the people of St. Thomas's, keeps harassing me about certain things that she wants done for persons or projects that she wants to do in St. Thomas's. And I have Latoya Jones, who was the candidate for the CCM in St. Thomas's, equally harassing about getting projects done in St. Thomas's. So the person was elected and the person who was not elected are both advocating. In St. James, the only person I'm hearing from is the Honorable Alexis Jeffers. Certainly the other constituencies are represented. St. John's by myself, St. Paul's by the Honorable Spencer Brand, St. George by the Honorable Eric Evelyn. And so you ask again the question, well, who is representing the people of St. James? Who is coming forward to say, well, Punsi down here so by this area here in Whitehall needs some help? The fellow up there, Paul, up there in Brick Hill needs some help. There's a little project down here in Butlers that needs to be done. Not a word. Not one word. You know what she has reached out to me on, the leader of the NRP? Making noise about money and office for the opposition. That's what she has put pen to paper to me about. NRP wants money from the government, and NRP should have some office for the opposition. I have not yet seen any communication, correspondence, WhatsApp, letter, visit, appointment, nothing from her in relation to the people of St. James. Now maybe after tonight, and I've said so publicly, she will spring to life, and if that is the case, well, so be it. But I wanted to say that because I keep saying to myself, well, what happened? 6 months on, the people of St. James don't want nothing. They made that choice. That is their choice. But the person that they have chosen has not come forward with one thing. So nobody in St. James need anything done. Nothing in the communities in St. James need doing. But the man who keeps calling me is Alexis Jeffers. And I believe that that has to be said. And you see again, I draw the distinction between the two NRP representatives that were elected, because the one in St. Thomas's keep harassing me. I can't hear from the one in St. James. Not a peep. What is it we want as a people? In terms of representation, what is it we are looking for? That's an important question. And that is one that only the voter can answer. Only the voter can answer. Because I sometimes wonder whether our people genuinely want performers. They want people who produce, or they just want people who full of negativity and just keep pointing out this is the problem and that's a problem and that's a problem, because that's what some of them do. So I think that that's important, and I wanted to make that point. Last thing I will say is that, as I would have said, and you'll hear more about it tomorrow, the poultry industry that we're talking about, we've taken a giant leap forward. We started yesterday the groundbreaking. We hope to start in a few weeks the actual construction of the processing facility, chicken processing facility. The model that we want to use is to invite investors, small farmers, to grow the birds and then to feed that central abattoir facility, that central processing facility. That's the model. The Taiwanese have become involved because this is all part of our project to lower our importation of food and to create greater food security and food sovereignty. That's what we're seeking to do on this island. We have invested significantly, again, the legacy of Alexis Jeffers, and I keep saying that because it is true. We've invested significantly. We're seeing increased crop production across the spectrum, and we're now moving and saying we should be able to produce enough chicken to supply ourselves locally. The Taiwanese, I want to thank them publicly. They've come forward and they're assisting with a hatchery. They've said that the hatchery is going to be in St. Kitts. As I understand it, the hatchery is what produces the chicks, and then those chicks are sold to the farmers who then go and produce the birds. We also have had an approach, I'm told, by a private individual to invest in a hatchery, and anybody out there who is interested, we think that this is a viable area to get involved in. And let us now start to really produce what we eat. To eat what we grow and grow what we eat. That's going to be important as we move forward. It is 5 minutes or so past the hour of 9 o'clock. I'm going to open the lines now at 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700 for those who wish to call. Tomorrow I have my press conference. It will be in the afternoon, unusually, because we recognize that the Charlestown Primary School, I believe, has its graduation that morning, and we didn't want to conflict. Of course, we wanted the children to have their moment in the sunshine, and we know that that is broadcast through some of the same media outlets that do the press conference. And so the press conference, our monthly press conference tomorrow, is going to be at 1:30 in the afternoon, and that is to allow the graduation to go off unimpeded. We have our first call at 5 minutes past, so let's go to the phones and say good evening. You're on the mark.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you.
While most people may understand the word harassing to mean that the person is constantly calling you, some people would attach the negative aspect of harassment to it. So I think your choice of word, harassment, doesn't really fit into the situation you're trying to explain, because there's so much hostility between both parties. So
what situation? Caller. Slow down a bit. My word harassment in relation to what situation?
When you speak about the two parties, these two persons, the person who is elected and the person who is not elected, constantly calling you or harassing you. I'm saying, this is my opinion, I'm saying that I don't like the word harassment, because harassment has some sort of negativity to it. If a person calls me and constantly calling me about a matter, and I don't give them any answer, the answer they want to hear, they're going to constantly call me, and I may feel, when I see the phone ringing and their number, I may just want to answer them, because I consider it to be harassment.
Caller, I understand the point you're making, but I think you are being a little pedantic, and I say that because we know in our colloquial parlance, right? You see people all the time, you say, Lord, man, this man here always harass me. We say it meaning that somebody is constantly calling you, engaging with you. It may not be about the same issue. I can call you, for example, every day, but I call you each day on a different issue. And I say, boy, one thing with this man here, you're always harassing me. It's not meant as a negative. It's part of our local chat.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm trying to say to you is,
yes,
some persons may not take it the way other person may take it. So I'm saying, if you use a word that is, my lane tone. So for instance, you said, I'm in constant communication with those persons, the one who was elected in St. Thomas's and the other one who was not elected. But I have no contact with the other party. I think the tone would have been a little better. That's just my opinion of the grid.
Well, I understand what you're saying, and obviously people take from a conversation what they want, but I think the word harassing is something that we use here in our local parlance, that I feel that people should understand what it is I'm saying. But I take the point, and if you prefer me to say that Cleon Stapleton has been communicating constantly with me while I have not heard a word from Janice Daniel Hodge,
that sounds better.
Well, it sounds better to you. I don't know whether it sounds better to anybody else out there, because I believe Nevisians understand. If me tell you me hungry, long time me no yam some food, people understand what me say. You could say
you're not speaking to divisions only. You keep boasting about the wide, massive audience that you have.
but I don't understand. What do you mean I'm not speaking to divisions?
Huh?
What do you mean I'm not speaking to divisions? Who am I speaking to?
You just said that divisions understand the language.
Yes.
Harassment. But colloquially, we understand it. But internationally, people may look at the word harassment that Mark is saying that these people are harassing. So what I'm trying to say, you just said it nicely. Let's not go back into the drama. You just said it nicely.
All right.
The lady is constantly in communication with you, and the other person. That's all better.
All right. Well, I'm happy that you're pleased that it sounds better, but don't tell anybody you convinced me, because you have not.
Okay.
But I'm happy for the point of view. I just feel that sometimes we it's a tempest in a teacup, because I believe every person that listening understand precisely what I am trying to relate, and it wasn't meant as any negative in any way, shape or form.
Mr. Brantley, and respectfully, I'm trying to tell you, you don't have to come up with the last word. I'm trying to say to you, you are speaking about an audience in Nevis. Colloquially, you can tell me, you can say, DJ, why stop harassment, man? I'm going to deal with the matter for you. I could understand it. But when you're speaking to a wide audience of a couple million people, right, they don't understand our culture. And so it's better if you just say it in a nice, mild tone that everybody can understand. Tukmum, Saman, Bagay, as you normally say. And I rest my case. Have a good night, sir.
All right, well, thank you. Well, you now said Tutmun Saman Bagay. I wonder if people understand what you mean by that. Because by your analysis, you shouldn't be saying that either. That's the point I'm trying to make to you. Language is language, culture is culture. And we have a conversation, and once people can appreciate and understand. So I don't see the negatives that you seem to see. I don't see the connotation, nor do I see that people will not understand caller. But I accept your view, and I've restated it in a way that you would prefer, although I know you understand exactly what it was I was saying from the inception. So, we are Nivision. We are having a show here, and I am persuaded that language is what it is, and people appreciate and understand that nothing negative was meant when I say that I'm constantly being harassed by people. What that means in our local parlance is that people are constantly in touch on certain matters, whereas others are conspicuous by their absence and by their silence. And I hope that that is pellucid now to Tutmun Saman Bagay, as you said. Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Yes, good evening to you.
You are the premier of this country. You are the premier of health, whatever that is. I have a problem, and I said it already on the radio, and here's a thing that I view. Again, Mr. Brantley, I'm still on the ambulance issue. Okay? When the ambulance passed where my restaurant is, you could see clearly the roundabout. You could stay anywhere in the vicinity, go straight across to water department, and here when the ambulance reach as far as the head of government road. Okay? And what I noticed, right, the 8 o'clock workers and then coming down the road like maybe 5 to 8 or whatever it is. If you don't believe me, drive on the road around that time, right? And the amount of vehicle, right? And them are government workers. They hear the ambulance coming. Mr. Brantley, nobody a move. Them are full speed, and they're not moving. I heard you talk about the big trucks and then, and the big trucks and then coming on the road the same way. I noticed, and I went and I found out who was driving the ambulance. The ambulance had to go up and, when you reach the one about the thing where you got to, it's like a kind of little hype.
Yes, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Right. Well, the ambulance had to be cocked and tight. I see it in my own eyes. I went by the hospital to find out exactly who was driving the ambulance. That's a girl who had me been to frightened. You understand? Because the man moved, Mr. Brantley. I went to Marva and I have vexed me. I told him I'm calling it. Marva in charge of traffic. And I said, Marva, this is not good enough. And I even tell this fellow who come on every morning. I tell him every morning to come on with something that we don't even understand. Right? And I need to think, Minister, that every morning you drive up there. Right? But I need to put down your foot on top of it. Let them see. Wednesday, I think, yes, because you wasn't on the radio Wednesday night, it was Eric. And Wednesday morning, I jumped in my vehicle, was going by Hartford. I stopped to the gate that goes where you see me sign is, little further in. And the ambulance coming with such a racket. I see this was an emergency. When you see the ambulance I go so and changing the hand, that is when we feel to myself it's more serious than anything else. Booga gone calling me almost coming up the road with a big black pickup, Eric brother. I jump out my vehicle, you could ask him. And I cut across at him and I said, Booga, come in further into where me car there. Come in further to me where me car there. And he had two big trucks coming down the road and some of the vehicles, and I stand up right in the middle of the road. You understand? And the trucker blow me. I said, well, knock me down. I'm not moving. And I stand up right in the road. Because it bothers me, because you never know who is in the ambulance and how serious they are. And then I saw we had to jump in the middle of the vehicle and make the sign and tell the ambulance go cross further with Booker Wing Park that they could have passed, and then the ambulance would not get to pass there that day. I asked Booker Evelyn, you understand? And it bothered me, and every time the ambulance blow, I always rush and look through my window and see, and people are not moving. I want to know if nothing can be done. Nothing can be done. Nobody could get tickets. Nobody could nothing could be done. That the ambulance not on a priority or whatever it is. Me not surprised. Some don't know the words them. But I want to know, Mr. Brantley, because if something, and listen, let me tell you something, Mr. Brantley. The same time that we decide that we're not going to move, let the ambulance pass. It could be your mother. It could be your child. It could be somebody who's something to you. Mr. Brantley, I want to know if nothing can be done. Tell you about it already, and I decide and thing. And when me, a civilian, got to go out in the road with direct traffic, it's not good enough. Have a good evening.
Okay, well, caller, thank you for that. And, people bring all kinds of issues to me. But I am not the traffic department. I am not the head of traffic. I am not in the traffic at the appropriate time. Our people have to be responsible. A lot of things that people say, okay, a man throw garbage out the window and he shouldn't do it, and what you going to do about it? But we need to start to say to our people that you must be responsible. For God's sake, if you hear the ambulance coming and you hear the siren, pull aside. All across the world, that is known. You mean you got to call in on a radio station and ask the premier to do something about that? Some of the things that we have to bring to the public ought not to come to the public, because our people should know. And I will go further and say our people do know. So why it is that they don't act responsibly? And why it is that people have to be forced to do what they know they're supposed to do? Listen, caller, you call about the ambulance. I took a walk the other morning. And it's that road that leads there from Bridgegut and goes in the back and goes down to Golden Grove, the housing area there in Brown Hill. So where the old tank used to be at Bridgegut, you walk down that back road. And I will say that on the air tonight is the most garbage I have ever seen anywhere. Microwave, stove, bags of garbage, they just thrown into the gut right there. It looked to me like people are just going there at nights and just flinging the garbage right there. No, you got to shame people to I say if a man will do that, then Lord God, me no want to see how he got his house. He got to be living a pigsty. Because I want to know how much more do we have to say and do in order for our people to act responsibly and sensibly. The garbage truck comes every day, several times a week, in order to pick up garbage across the length and breadth of this island. And they do an excellent job. They do an excellent job. There is no need for that. But people do it anyway. And then, when they do it, somebody say, oh, Premier, you need to do something about it. So what are we going to do? Go in the bush coop and jump out and say, hey, You're not supposed to throw your microwave. That you think our people don't know that? We need to start to hold our people accountable. So, caller, I share your frustration, because if you hear the ambulance, the police, or whoever coming, from the minute you hear that siren, anywhere you are in the world, people pull over. So if what you're saying is accurate, I share that frustration. I would appeal to our road users, but also appeal to our traffic department when they see such, to deal with it. As I have appealed to them on these truck drivers, I've said to them, when you see them speeding, they don't have their load covered, they're breaching the law, deal with them. Because they have a responsibility. And I am saying that very plainly. Because sometimes it appears that you have to almost as if you have to punish people for them to do the right thing. I don't understand why. You go in Ram's supermarket, Value Mart. What prevents you from stealing? Shoplifting. It's an important question. What prevents you from stealing when you go into Value Mart or Rams? Is it that you fear you'll be punished, or is it that you have a moral conscience that tells you it is wrong to take up or you know put down? These are important considerations for us as a people. We need to get to a point where we start as a society to act responsibly. And not everything is for the politician to solve, because the politician ain't named Jesus. My name is in the Bible, yes, Mark, but he's not at that level of Jesus. So we have to start to say to our people, and when we see people doing foolishness, flinging the garbage out the window, etc., we ourselves need to reprimand them and insist that people act responsibly. That, caller, is what I will say to you in response, because I can't be in Gingerland and in Cox and in Butlers all at the same time. The police equally can't be in all those places at the same time. So our people need to be responsible. And maybe what needs to happen is when our people on the road see these things, they call the police and tell the police. Right? That Tom, Dick or Susie in H whatever, P whatever, PA, PB, whatever the number is, the ambulance was trying to get you and they refused to move. Maybe that's what needs to happen. All of us must be invested in responsible behavior. Let's go back to the phones. 20 minutes past. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Hey, how are you doing, my premier?
I am well, thank you.
Yes, man, it's Vern, you know.
Hey, what's up, Vern?
Hey, cool, man. I'm so glad to see my boy not be there tonight with you releasing his tune, you know. Sound good, man. It sound good.
But you know, Nutsy always going to give us something for the season. Always something good.
But it don't come in a second time. Can't come in because I got bought out in the second round in next tune. But I pray that it come in the next tune and I see it will be in the first three. He will be in the first three, but I listen tonight, you know, and he don't tell me this song to him, but I wish him all the best to this time and make to the semi-final and final, you know.
Well, I believe not.
Everything going.
Things are going all right. How things in the VI?
Everything here, you know, just kind of we just balling for rain, you know, past 5 months down here like a desert, man. Son of pelt, man.
What?
Yeah, so up to this we just get a little rain. They say we will get some rain, but we fighting now right now. Rain don't stop and we can win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I listening there with somebody calling there about ambulance, but out of respect, right? I be a driver down here to see ambulance. You hear ambulance, you gotta pull on the side to let the ambulance the way to go, and that's the way. And if the ambulance knock you and you don't stop, you in front of the ambulance knock you can't even fight for nothing. But you hear the siren and you gotta pull on the side. It could be ambulance, police, fire. You gotta pull on the side, and if the person driving and don't pull on his side, he's supposed to be reported and get the license plate and report him.
Well, that's what I'm suggesting is to happen. But, you know, as I said, our people know this. Our people travel. Our people understand when you hear a siren, you pull on the side. It's an emergency vehicle.
Know, and especially not cutting you off, and they know when they went for the driver license, they tell you that too in the driver's license when you're doing your test. Why they can't read now they're driving, you know what I'm saying? But hey, That's how life is, you know, man. But you keep up the good work, man. And I was planning to get home for the cultural, but flight is so a problem here. But I set myself, well, I got a better life for me to come 2024. I'll be home for the 50th, man. I would like to celebrate that year, you know. Better life in me. Well, I have it.
Well, it's going to be a big year, and we look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, come 24, I'll be coming home for the 50th. I'm planning to come home, you know, but flight down here, you know, you got charter flight and thing right now, so we hope we get better airline next year to make it easier, you know what I'm saying? But you keep the works and don't study them. You're the Premier of Nevis and they're going to talk bad about you, but you know what you are doing up there for the people of Nevis, so just hanging there. Do what you have to do and let it talk more. When you don't do everything, they don't still talk. You don't do nothing, they talk, but just do the good works and let it eat the heart out.
All right, my brother. Good to hear you.
Up to my brother over there in Brownhill, Kenyaba, not to them, my family them in Brownhill, the Warren them family, tell them keep up the good works, man, where them doing the blessing and all of them, you know.
All right, Daddy. Yeah. Good to hear you, brother.
Nice, man.
Yeah, man.
Every time, respect to you, man, my Premier.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. Thanks for calling in.
Every time.
I hope not to realize that Brownhill people are called from all overseas.
Well, he knows because he don't get to good, so he knows that he don't send me his song already, but he knows that too far. He don't send me the tune already, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we keep in touch, you know.
Okay, my brother.
But I've been wanting you to have him all night, but I watch him get talking, you know. But I said, lad, he should have been all night so I could have deal with him. But he good. He could hold wait though. He could hold wait.
All right, yeah, brother.
Bless up.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Take care, man.
Thanks. All right.
Yeah.
All right, that was brother of ours from Brownhill calling in from the Virgin Islands, and we love to hear that out of your chest and hope that all remains well with you, brother. And to all of our family, friends, fans in the Virgin Islands, we say good night to you. Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, in regards to the ambulance, the person, whoever driving it, I mean, if they see any breach of on the road to accommodate, I mean, smooth sailing of the ambulance, they themselves, I mean, should take the person's, I mean, number plate number, report them.
Yeah, but it's tough, you know, because if you're driving the ambulance, you're rushing to an emergency. You don't got time to stop or say you take number plate. You're trying to focus on the road and trying to get to where you're going.
But normally, what about the other person? The other person would normally be there in the ambulance with them.
Well, I don't know, but I think it's a little hard to ask the ambulance operators because, you know, they're an emergency. You know, when you deal with an emergency, you're focused on getting to where you have to go to deal with what you're dealing with. You may have a patient in the vehicle that you're trying to get to the hospital urgently. You shouldn't have the responsibility to say you take down people's number. People need to be asked to be responsible, and I think that other road users should really be the ones to say, you know what, let me work on that. You know, that's just my sense.
If you walk, I mean, persons have to be made accountable. Once you deal with one, you're going to see what happens. But you see, like, nothing happening, so people going to be always doing it.
Well,
okay.
You know, caller, before you go, because that is something I am puzzled about, right? And I mentioned the stealing in Rams or Valley Mart or whatever, just as an example. Why do you think that you need to be punished in order to do what you know to be right?
That is a very good question. It's even happening in other spectrum of the thing. I look at it the same way. Why you have to, I mean, if you see somebody driving without their seatbelt, why you have to charge them for their own safety? Does it make sense?
Well, you see people without the helmet on a motorcycle.
Exactly. It's unfortunate, but I mean, that's the reality of things right now. Even though it shouldn't be, but that's how things. But as I said, somebody has to be made accountable. There's too many things, and next thing I say, oh, because it's a small island and everything is going unnoticed. No, somebody has to be made a public example.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, caller. I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's go back to the phones. It's 1:30 the hour. We're taking your calls. Good evening. You're on the mark. Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Premier.
Good evening. You're on the air. Go ahead.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm well, man. Good to hear your voice.
Yes, good to hear your voice as well. And you're always firing on all cylinders as usual. Just a few things I wanted to put on the table tonight. First and foremost, of course, I know you would have spoken about it before, but I just wanted to say how excited I am that, and of course all of us on the island should be excited about the groundbreaking ceremony that took place at Prospect yesterday. Of course, we have been talking about this broiler industry for quite some time, and of course the wheels are now in motion. I know that the Honorable Alexis Jeffers would have done quite a bit to put the wheels in motion. Of course, we would, as an administration, invested quite a bit of money in getting the equipment here from England, over $286,000. That's over $750,000. And of course, we have been investing so much in the agriculture industry over the years, and of course, we would have invested a lot more during the pandemic. But of course, this is an area that we see an exceptional potential in, and that is something that we want to capitalize on. Once everything goes well, and we are confident that things will go well, Nevis will be the first in the sub-region to have something like this. And we are delighted that we were able to have that groundbreaking ceremony yesterday at Prospect. I want to thank those who came and supported, and of course, we want to say a special thank you once again to the former minister, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, for running with the idea, and I'm happy that he was there yesterday for me to invite him to come and turn the sod with me. And of course, we know we have our partners, the Taiwanese Technical Mission. We are, of course, in need of a hatchery. They will be doing the hatchery project on St. Kitts. I want to especially thank as well AICA, because they have come on board as well. We need we will be getting a consultant here from Trinidad very shortly, and so things are coming together for that project. We are very, very serious here on Nevis about food production, food security, food sovereignty, and we are investing heavily in agriculture. We are investing in the industry. We are investing now in our small farmers, and this will be a major leap forward. It will be a game changer for Nevis, for St. Kitts, and the sub-region. So I want to thank all of the players who have been involved so far in the project, and of course we are very confident that this will be something massive for the island of Nevis and for the Federation. Of course, we know that the Culturama season is heating up, Honorable Premier, and so we do have some activities this weekend, and of course we took a break for the music festival weekend because we know a lot of persons in Nevis support the music festival, and we know normally when anything happens on either of the island, persons from the other island would support. We know that our brothers and sisters from St. Kitts will be coming over in their numbers to support Culturama, to support the Mango Festival, to support everything we have. And so we gave our folks here on Nevis the opportunity to go and support the music festival, and so we opted not to have any activities this past weekend, but the activities will restart this weekend. And so on Saturday we have the Action Corner number 3. The Action Corners have been going extremely well. We have something new this year where we are taking the Action Corners around the island, and so the next Action Corner this coming Saturday will be at the Dewdrops restaurant right there on the Westbury Road. Of course, there will be lots of excitement, lots of music, and of course, prizes to be won. I understand Ramsey will be there doing some giveaways. This year, of course, for the first time, we have our Culturama girls. They will be there, and so the action is heating up. And then on Sunday, the action moves to the 869 Sports Bar. We will be having our second Calypso tent. And I must say that the first Calypso tent went extremely well. We've been getting some exceptional feedback. All who went to that tent were saying how good the tent was, how good the Calypsonians were sounding, and that was just the warm-up. And so the action for the Calypso tent continues this coming Sunday at the 869 Bar in Gingerland. And so we have action on Saturday night, Action Corner. We have action on Sunday night with the Calypso tent, and we are asking persons to come out and support. Come out and support the Calypsonians on Sunday. So far, the Calypsonians are sounding good. Of course, you would have had Notzi on the air this evening releasing one of his songs, and of course, that is just a sample of what you will get once you come to the tent and support the Calypsonians. The all-star band doing the backing is doing an extremely good job as well. And so all in all, what we have seen and what we have witnessed for the Calypso tent has been good, and it will only get better. So I'm asking all of the folks, please come out and support the cultural activities this coming weekend. And as I said, every weekend after this, we're going to be having activities. And not only on the weekend, because as things heat up, we will have activities during the week as well. But as you would have rightly said a while ago, we want the hype to build. And of course, we are just heating up for the big 50th next year. And of course, this will be a homecoming. We want everybody generally everybody who I speak to, and the overseas, have been telling them, make sure you start booking for next year early o'clock, because we expected all divisions overseas to be here for the 50th, for the homecoming next year. And the third thing I wanted to talk about, Premier Brantley, the Empire Sports Club. I would have been on the radio a couple of weeks ago, indicating that we were raising some funds, and I am happy to report that the Empire cricket team will be traveling to St. Martin this coming weekend. The Empire cricket team will be traveling on Friday. They will be returning on Monday. And they are going to St. Martin because they're going there to engage a couple teams from St. Martin. They will be taking part in what is called the Conquerors Invitational Tournament 2023. And of course, we know the Empire cricket team has done very well over the past couple of years. We have won quite a number of tournaments. We have been getting quite a number of young persons and being attracted to the team. And so we thought that we wanted to give the younger players in particular some more exposure. As a matter of fact, we started planning this since last year. We were supposed to do this since last year. It did not materialize, but it gave us a little bit more time, and so it's actually happening this coming weekend. And so the team travels down on Friday, they play on Saturday, and they play on Sunday. And the matches will be taking place at the Carib Lumber Cricket Grounds. And the teams for the matches, for the Invitational, the Empire from Nevis, and out of St. Martin we have Conquerors, we have Spartans, we have Future Champs, and we have Motor World. And if I can just give a rundown of what the action would look like for the weekend, on Saturday, at 10 o'clock, Empire will play Conquerors, and then at 2 p.m., Spartans will play Future Champs. Let me also indicate that the matches will be 20-over matches. So there will be 20-20 games. And then on Sunday at 9:30 a.m., Motor World will face off against Empire. Then at 12:15 we have Future Champs versus Conquerors. And then to crown it all off, at 2:30 on Sunday, the final match will be Empire versus Spartans. And so I want to take this opportunity to really thank the sponsors who have come on board to assist us, and thank persons who would have supported our activities that we would have had.
Hello?
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Oh, okay, all right, yes. So yes, I just wanted to thank the persons, the businesses and the persons who would have assisted. And so I want to say a special thanks to the Ministry and the Department of Sports, to Story Paving and Aggregate Limited, Mr. Oral Martin, Nevis Credit Union, Lorna Hunkins, and we are expecting something positive from National Bank and Bank of Nevis. I think I can thank them in advance as well. And of course, those who would have come out and support our activity on Mother's Day at the VOJN grounds, those who supported the 35 and over dance, other persons who would have given donations, we want to say thank you. We also want to say a special thanks to the Conquerors cricket team in St. Martin, because they are the ones who are doing the groundwork there in St. Martin. They will be one of the host teams. They are the main host team, and so we want to thank them. They will be providing the transportation and some of the lunches and so on. And so Conquerors, big up yourself. And I also want to make a special appeal to Nevisians living in St. Martin. we're asking you to go out and support cricket. I know St. Martin persons love cricket, and a special appeal to the divisions in St. Martin. Go out and support the Empire cricket team, your division cricketers who will be there on Saturday and Sunday. I also want to say special thanks to the poor persons in particular who have been really assisting and coordinating this trip. Mr. Adelvin Phillip, Mr. Nelson Boland, Mr. Joel Simmons, and Miss Jamila Hanley, and all who have been assisting. We want to say special thanks to you, and we are hopeful that once this trip comes up and comes off well, this is something that we can do pretty often. This is something that Empire used to do many years ago, where Empire used to travel to St. Martin every other year, and the team down there will come up every other year. And so this is maybe the start of something good. Of course, we want to build our cricketers, give them the exposure, and I'm indeed very happy and delighted that we are able to pull this off. And once again, I'm asking the divisions in St. Martin to go out and support good cricket, support the Nevis cricket team Empire, and support the other teams from St. Martin as well. So thank you very much for having me, Premier Brantley.
Well, you know when you're calling, I know you always have a lot of information, so I choose not to interrupt you. But thank you very much for the call. I really appreciate it. And let me commend you,
Yes,
Deputy Premier, for the excellent work you've done over the years with Empire. You know, I tell people all the time that public life perhaps came easy for you because you've been doing it all your life. And
All my life.
how long have you been with Empire now?
Well, I am the president for about 21 years.
So you're president for life?
Well, that's what they call me. They say I'm president for life.
All right. Well, I wish the team all the very best in St. Martin, and I join you in saying that all of St. Martin should come out to support our cricketers this weekend. And I particularly like the fact that you're exposing the youngsters and giving them an opportunity to develop. So thank you very much for all that you're doing and keep doing. And we look forward certainly to hearing more reports and updates from you on that poultry industry. I think people are very excited about the idea.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
All right. Take good care. 20 minutes to. We have other calls. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark. No? Okay. I thought that the phone was ringing. So let us continue to ask. Here we go. Good evening. You're on the mark. Okay. We've lost that caller. Callers, please be patient with us. 869-469-1616. 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call if you want to be a part of the show. Let's try again. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Good night, Honorable Brantley.
Good night to you.
How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Good to hear you.
Okay, thank you. Welcome. May God bless you and your cabinet and grant you peace, love, courage, knowledge, and understanding as you continue to move Nevis forward. Love you and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
And before I go,
yes.
I would like to say hello to Wilson Charles up there in New York, who is listening.
Wilson?
Mr. Evelyn, who just left.
Who do you say is listening? Okay. I'm sorry, Wilson who?
Wilson Charles.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, and thank you for your call. God bless.
God bless.
Okay. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue. We have somebody holding. Let's go straight back to the phones. Let's try this caller. No? All right. Callers, please, again, call in 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call if you want to be a part of the show. We have 20 minutes left, so we have a lot of time. We can certainly accommodate some more calls. Eric Evelyn, I thought, called in to share some important information, not only about the cricket, but about Culturama. And I particularly like the innovation this year of taking Culturama into the villages. And so Dewdrops, certainly they're going to have the action corner there. And I anticipated that will be very exciting there in that community of Westbury. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Myself a tired call, and you know me all the way up in the big country. Lord, tonight, I love you.
Now you're in, darling. Go ahead.
Proverbs 28, verse 3, 4, and 5. A poor man that oppresseth the poor is like a sweeping rain, which leaveth no food. They that spoke the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law contend with them. Evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord understand all things. Good night to Mr. Manners over there. I'm having a wonderful. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning now, and I'm still up talking to you.
Oh, wow.
Michelle said, Mr. Bad, but all the best, take care. And I want to say from all the way down here, good night to Janice Cole in St. Croix. Have a wonderful evening.
All right.
And bye. Love you.
Love you too, and thank you. You are all the way away, and you still can find time to call with a scripture. So I thank you so much for that, and look forward to you coming back and seeing you soon. We do miss you here on the show, and we know that you are somebody who is always here with us on a Wednesday. So thank you for staying up. Thank you for calling in, and I hope you get some rest now that you've been able to call in. And we do apologize that it took a while for you to come in, but thank you nevertheless for not giving up. So we appreciate that. Please continue to enjoy your break, and we look forward to seeing you in due course. Ladies and gentlemen, you listen to On the Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, and we have about 16 or so minutes left on the show this evening. So if there's something that you would like to talk about, we invite you to call in 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Now, one of the big events over the past few days is that we had the visit of NBA center for the Brooklyn Nets, young Nicholas Claxton. He's only 24 years old, but he and his father came to visit. His father, also Claxton, played professionally for the Boston Celtics, I believe, and young Nicholas plays for the Brooklyn Nets. And I was very impressed with him, with his humility, with the fact that he was so willing to come and to give something back. He had yesterday a bit of a camp with the youngsters at the netball and basketball complex here in town, and I was pleasantly surprised to see the number of youngsters that came out. I'm told we had some youngsters who came over from St. Kitts as well. We should have had some youngsters from St. Kitts. And he said to me last evening that he was surprised that in 3 hours he saw already the development in terms of the youngsters catching on very quickly to what he was imparting to them. And so we are discussing the possibility of an ongoing collaboration with young Claxton. I believe that we would love to see in the future that he and his other NBA colleagues and friends would come to Nevis, do camps, come on holiday here. They absolutely love the island. Of course, this is the place of his ancestral home, I would call it, because his family are from Bath Village, and I learned just tonight that he also would have family from Brownhill. But the Claxton family, those are the family members, and so some of those came out as well to greet him, and I was really impressed because these are big stars. Naturally, these are people, as the Honorable Troy Liebert, who was so instrumental in putting all this together. The way he put it is that you don't get into the NBA unless you're the top 1% of the 1%. It's only the best that make it in. And for this youngster to not only be in an NBA team, but I'm told to start in center for the Brooklyn Nets, I think that says a lot. So we would really like to do more, engage with them more. I was very happy with their willingness to give back, and he came with his family, and I was privileged to meet his mom. I had met his dad before, but I really am happy to see what we've been able to do. I want to give special kudos to the Honorable Troy Liebert, because this was his idea to reach out to young Nicholas and to invite Nicholas to come and be a part of us, come home and to give something back by contributing to the youngsters in terms of this basketball camp. And I think it went really well. I'm told that Nicholas had a good time here. He enjoyed his time here. Family enjoyed their time here. And I hope that if they're listening, they will really appreciate how much we appreciate them and how much we welcome them home, and hope that we can continue to have a long-term relationship with them. And so, thank you. Thank you to Nicholas. Thank you to his dad. Thank you to his mom. Thank you to his whole family. Thank you to all of them who came and were here. And I hope that they continue to enjoy what's left of their time here, and that they go back with fond memories of Nevis, their home. And so in a very real way, we were welcoming them home, and I'm happy to have had them. We continue to reach out, of course, ladies and gentlemen, to say that the people who are in our diaspora are important to us. there are a lot of Nevisians and Kittitians who live abroad. There are second and third generation Kittitians and Nevisians who live abroad, and as many of them have done incredibly well. We want them to be a part of the fabric of St. Kitts and Nevis. There's no excuse nowadays. Long ago you used to have to take a boat which took how much weeks to get to England and things. No. Now there's no excuse. With internet, with travel, with all the modern appliances and technology that's available to us, we can engage, and we need to engage more. That, I think, is absolutely critical. And so I am certainly encouraging our people in the diaspora, and a lot of people, and I talk to friends who I have out there all the time, and they say things like, well, nobody asks me. Nobody needs to ask you. Let me put it that way. Nobody needs to ask you. This is your country. I don't care how much people now have American passport, Canadian passport, UK passport. Nevis away are a navel string berry. Get into that habit of involving yourself in what is happening in the years. Not just voting. Involve yourself in that too. But involve yourself in day to day. How can I help somebody? How can I mentor somebody? How can I provide a scholarship to somebody? How can I leverage my connections, my training to help Nevis, the land of our birth? We need all of our people on board. You hear what Nazis say? It's all about developing the nation. National development. We need all hands on deck. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Yes, bless you, Honorable Mark Brantley.
Yes, blessings.
Yes. Honorable Brantley.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't hear the program from the beginning, but I didn't get a chance to hear you expound on the parliament, the last parliament we had. The Rastafari right recognition bill and designated smoking area. Them bill there I talk about right. The Rastafari right recognition. What bring the bill about to your knowledge? What the bill come out from?
Well, I think that if you follow the parliamentary sitting, there was some conversation about what the thinking was about that and what informed it, and I believe that a big concern was the discrimination that Rasta had for so many years. That Christians, for example, if you have a church, a Christian church, once you're registered as a church, you can get duty free, you can get land, access to land, you get all kinds of things, benefits. But Rasta didn't have anything similar. So this was designed to create for Rasta a platform that they can register as an organization, they can get access to tax concession, duty free, piece of land, that kind of thing. So it really was trying to remove that discrimination that had been existing for so many years.
Yeah, and within that now, the Rastafari get some leeway, so to speak, with the home under the new legislation, and that is because of the abuse that the Rastafari community gets over the years for possession.
Yes.
That's so.
Yes, I'm listening, caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, and if the Rastafari right recognition bill come out because of the abuse we have to get over the years with the home, how come we still have penalty and the same herb? So the abuse continue. Once penalty is still any hope, the abuse continue.
Carl, did you have an opportunity to listen to the parliament at all in the day? Did you have a chance to listen to the parliament when the bills were debated?
I never listened to it in full.
Okay, because I think a lot of those issues were addressed, and part of the difficulty has been, the steps that we take. Some people like me feel that we need to go faster and farther. Others are being cautious because at the end of the day, there are some concerns surrounding the fact that ganja, marijuana, sensimilia, the herb, whatever you want to call it, that it continues to be treated by certain international agencies as a drug, and one that can have some ill effects on people and people's health. So there's a debate that is going on. Some countries, Uruguay and Canada, are examples. They have completely legalized marijuana. Other countries have taken a sort of halfway approach, having it only for medicinal purposes. Some states in the United States have legalized marijuana to some extent, but majority of countries in the world it is still illegal. And so there's that debate that is going on about St. Kitts and Nevis. What the legislation tried to do was to create a carve-out for Rasta, to create a carve-out for people who say, as a matter of conscience, they need to have access to the herb for their religion or their, conscientious purposes.
It's not just a matter of conscience. It's a right. It's a right for everyone to have the herb in their position, because there was never no problem with provision. The problem that the herb had all along is illegal status is the problem, because illegal status in itself, Honorable Mark Brantley, that in itself is that illegal status in itself carry a penalty of about 15 years,
Well,
it's part right upon forgery, and forgery is a criminal offense that carry a sentence up to 15 years.
So
illegal status is under that problem.
Well, I understand. I understand. Okay, I understand the point you're making, but the law is the law is the law. The law is what it is. So at this stage, what we're talking about is to try and change the law. Yeah. And until the law is changed, what I'm saying is that the legislation that was passed, the cannabis, the rights, Rastafarian rights legislation, the freedom of conscience legislation, and to some extent the designated smoking areas in public legislation, all of that was designed to carve out for a group of people a special dispensation to allow them to grow, possess, and use. Let me not say smoke, let me say use. Grow, possess, and use marijuana in certain circumstances without it attracting the harsh penalties that you speak about. Let us remember that prior to this, if you were caught even with a spliff, you could be taken to the court and prosecuted and sent to prison.
Yes,
right? So we're trying to move away from that. But we have not yet got to the point where I believe you're driving at, that you want the whole thing to be freed up, because that has not yet happened.
But not that I want. That is exactly where it should be. Not just I personally want. That is exactly where it's supposed to be. Because that is the right. That is the right of the situation, total freedom. Because if you're gonna penalize the only people, let me tell you, the only people to pay penalty for the herb right now should be the government, for the abuse over the many years. You hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Okay, it's only the government supposed to pay for the herb right now. Pay the penalty for the abuse that they abuse Rastafari brethren and sisters over the many years. Enough brethren and sisters gone to the grave, Honorable Mark Brantley, with the hurt from the abuse from the government and security system in this federation. We can't talk about nowhere else.
All right. Again, caller, I think that's a legitimate debate and a legitimate point that you're making, but I'm dealing with the practicality of what is before us, and what is before us, whether we like it or not, is that we have had marijuana being illegal and being classified as a dangerous drug now for a very long time.
Yeah.
It is not just here in St. Kitts and Nevis, it was classified as a dangerous drug by the United Nations.
But what I tell you, it is proven that is all our life.
Well, I understand that. That's why I'm saying I understand the point that you're making, but the point that you're making doesn't change the reality of what we have had on the ground in front of us. You understand?
You want to tell you why the reality is on the ground before us now?
Ah.
Because when the item set up right for public office, it is not true that the item really want to do well for the country and its people, you know. Because if the item had want to do so, I will come together and do so in every aspect of government. If I go look some help now for agriculture, the government won't tell me collaborate, team up, man, come together. So how the government of the region can come together and make and decide what we're going to do in our country. Because if we know that what they are saying is right, how come, when I listen to the Honorable Prime Minister in the Assembly, Honorable Mark Brantley, when I listen to the Honorable Prime Minister in the Assembly, the Honorable Prime Minister says so much good things against illegal status, right? And when he done, he go right back now to put penalty and he see him home what he say that it was wrong to abuse Rastafari. And the same how it is, and nothing else.
Okay.
So you can't expect to continue penalize people for possession when that in itself is a wrong.
Okay, well, as I said, I understand your viewpoint, but you should also appreciate that not everybody will agree with your viewpoint. That is why we live in a democracy. And
not only St. Nevis I talk about, the entire region, government in the entire region got to come together and look for the interests of the people who want the government. Otherwise, the idea could just leave the office for people who are willing to stand up for the people. Because the people who are willing and who are capable to.
Yeah, but so you don't see the passing of this legislation as a demonstration of people who are willing to stand up?
Yeah, National Assembly we had,
yes.
In my mind, was a waste of time.
So that's a waste of time? So you don't think now, you don't think that now Rasta have the right to grow and all of that is helpful?
Rasta got the right to grow any amount of hope according to Judge Eddie Ventos.
No, I don't think that's what Eddie Ventos said.
What he say?
Right? About they have the right to grow any amount of herb. That is not what he said at all. So please don't say that. Right?
Any amount he said.
The ruling that he made had to do with religious right and the ability of people to use it as a sacrament in terms of a private use. You can't take that judgment to say that you can go out in public or you can have 100 pound of weed and you start to sell weed and you start to do all of that. That is not what the judge said. So we have to be mindful that there are limits even to what he said. But in my respectful view, caller, you call late so the show is ending, but in my respectful view, the discussion is one that is worthwhile. I hope you can call back on another occasion. We could have a bit more time to talk.
I will, because I is one, right, in this federation, you hear me?
Yes.
Who is willing even to die for this thing, because I know it's me right, it's a right, you know.
Okay.
And once it is right, I standing up. Nobody is going to do nothing with no hope, no letting in this party, they would have to kill me, Honorable Mark Brantley.
All right, so we end. That is your last word. We thank you very much for your contribution. The show has come to an end. You won't have to die for anything. Nobody will have to kill you for anything. We are having a discussion. As you would say in your faith, we are having a reasoning. That's what is important, that we share ideas. And as passionate as you are, caller, I'm sure that the people out there who are equally passionate and do not agree with you. So let us have that tolerance. We go back to what Nutsi said. Let us respect each other and each other's opinion. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The banner struck up. We have to go. That's our show for tonight. This show is rebroadcast tomorrow at 1 p.m. Please join me at 1:30 tomorrow for my monthly press conference. Good evening. God bless you.
And opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.